Hello. Hope you all had a refreshing break. Let's gather once again with the same enthusiasm as we continue with the conference. It's time to begin the second keynote session of rTIME 2025.
We are privileged to welcome Professor Vishnu Pendyala, sir, a distinguished faculty member in the Department of Applied Data Science and academic senator at San Jose State University, USA. With decades of industry expertise at Silicon Valley, he has delivered more than 100 invited talks at prestigious venues such as Stanford University, Google, IIT Jodhpur, NIT Patna, and Computer History Museum. Being a senior member of IEEE and Association for Computing Machinery (ACM), he currently serves as the chair of IEEE Computational Intelligence Society, Santa Clara Valley chapter, and ACM distinguished speaker. He is the author of acclaimed books including Veracity of Big Data, Machine Learning for Societal Improvement, Modernization and Progress. For at least for the last 1 decade, he serves as the Executive Council member of Computer Society of India and has taught government-sponsored JAN and AICTE programs in India. A Ramanujan Memorial Gold Medalist and NSF reviewer, he has delivered talks in more than 23 countries, inspiring global learners.
We wholeheartedly invite Professor Vishnu Pandyala, sir, to deliver the session. Over to you, sir. Should we fix behind the back?
I can put it in the pocket.
Okay. No. Just it should be outside. This is the put. It should be inserted. Yeah. Yes, please. And this has to be fixed near the bottom.
Right?
Speak.
Yeah.
Yes,
I think
yeah.
it is audible.
Yeah.
Okay. All good? क्या हुआ? वो अंदर से लेना था क्या? So, hello everyone. I'm audible, right? So, artificial intelligence is the talk of the day since the last few years. So, the next generation of artificial intelligence is evolving from incredible content generation to actually developing autonomous systems. So the rise of agentic AI and autonomous systems brings in a new era of innovation. So in this talk, we will cover some of the enablers, some of the use cases, and conclude with the future trends of the AI imperative. So the agenda pretty much, you can use this, I guess. So the agenda pretty much follows the title. So we are first going to talk about the AI imperative. So there is a mantra going around today. It's called AI or die. That means you either embrace AI or you basically are not existent. So we'll talk about that boom initially, and then we'll look at the enabling concepts, then present some potential use cases, present and potential use cases, and then conclude with the future trends. So I'm a great fan of quotations. So here's one from a fiction writer, science fiction writer. He says that, Arthur C. Clarke, he says that any sufficiently advanced technology is indistinguishable from magic. So artificial intelligence is that magic today. So when the sophistication grows, when there's a high level of sophistication, technology appears to be magic. And that's what is happening with artificial intelligence today. Artificial intelligence is pervading pretty much every aspect of our daily lives. And the new mantra today is AI or die. So these are some of the headlines describing this AI or die phenomena. So Shopify says no new hires until AI can't do the job. So if AI is able to do the job, then let's use AI. That's what is the mindset today. And here is another from Samsung. Samsung needs do or die mindset to survive AI challenges. And AI or die, AgTech leans into the future. So agricultural technology is also embracing AI. Similarly, AI or die, Microsoft and investors want startups must adapt. Pivot or die, why adaptability is the key to survival in the age of AI. Again, AI or die, the fight plan for AI-powered marketing in 2025. So as you can see, there are tons and tons of such headlines describing or quantifying or calling upon companies and people to embrace artificial intelligence to basically ensure their existence. So if you look at the progress that has been made in artificial intelligence, according to this organization called METR, it's a very reputed organization. I think Yoshua Bengio, who is one of the leading figures in artificial intelligence, is a member of this board. And he says that, I mean, the organization says that the length of tasks artificial intelligence can do is doubling every 7 months, right? But informally, some people say that it's 4 months. The capabilities are doubling every 4 months. And I think it is even faster than that, right? So that is like rapid progress. So there is a lot of hope, right? So Elon Musk predicts artificial general intelligence in 2 years. So what is artificial general intelligence? Artificial general intelligence is the ability of AI to pretty much work like humans, right? So that is the concept of artificial general intelligence. And Elon Musk says that it will be there in like 2 years. So that is the hope. In fact, in the recent release of Grok, you know, is the AI system from Elon Musk's company X. So so during that release event, Elon Musk was claiming that Grok is equivalent to several PhDs in several disciplines. So these models are generalized, right? They're not specialized, they're generalized. They can do a lot of things. You can ask them about chemistry, you can ask them about plant biology, you can ask them about, they're all general models. So he says that these models, his model, Grok, is equivalent of several PhDs in multiple disciplines. But of course, he acknowledged that it might take another 1 or 2 years for the AI models to actually start innovating by themselves, right? But probably he may not have known at that time that a company called Sakana.ai produced a complete research paper, all without using any human intervention. Using a simple prompt, the tool could generate the entire paper, research paper. We'll talk about it in the next few slides. So that is a hope that many people have, but some people call it a hype also, and there are reasons for calling it hype. So the CEO of Gooder AI and so a lot of people, not just this person, but a lot of people believe that there's a lot of hype going on. So yeah, let us talk about the paper, right? So ICLR, you might be knowing, is one of the top 3 conferences in artificial intelligence. So NeurIPS, ICML, and ICLR, these are the 3 top conferences in AI, right? So ICLR organizers ran an experiment. So this is what they told the reviewers. So they said, as part of a small experiment that we believe aligns with the theme of our workshop, and with approval from the central ICLR workshop chairs, we have included 3 AI-generated papers out of a total of 43 submissions. As a result, it is possible, though unlikely, that you may be assigned an AI-generated paper to review. And of course, the disclaimers and all that stuff is there. So what that means is that the reviewers wouldn't know whether the paper is generated by AI or authors, because it's all blinded, right? You don't put the names on these papers, authors' names. They're reviewed double blind, right? So the reviewers wouldn't know if they are generated by AI or people. And look at what happened. So the first paper, compositional regularization, unexpected obstacles in enhancing neural network generalization. So all these papers are generated by AI. And the first paper got scores of 6, 7, and 6. 7 means accept without any reservations. So it's as good as human quality. 6 is quite close, right? So 3 reviewers gave 6, 7, 6 to the first paper. So that means it will be accepted. And the second paper got 3, 7, 4. That means at least one reviewer felt that it is as good as human level intellect in human level research. And the third paper was not all that good, 3, 3, 3. So I can read more about the experiment in that paper. It's a preprint. And the company name is sakana.ai. So just by using a prompt, simple prompt, without any human intervention, from the abstract, title, abstract, to experimentation, formatting, everything was taken care of by the AI model. So that is the level of autonomy that this company established. ICLR is a top conference, and so this is a history. It created history. Basically, a paper generated by AI was accepted for a top conference. So that they created history, but of course, due to ethical issues, it was withdrawn from the conference. But it really went on to prove a point. So there is a race to give autonomy to artificial intelligence, right? So it's a race, pretty much a race. Companies are literally racing. So again, going back to the headlines, AI, autonomy, and arms race, the evolving role of autonomous weapons. Researchers are also thinking about autonomous weapons, not just autonomy for general daily tasks. And India's path to AI autonomy. India is taking a distinctive approach to the global race and things like that. And then Manus versus OpenAI. China leading the future AI boom. So this is a Facebook post. So this describes of course, they say that it's a rumor, but the user, Cecil, provided a lot of gory details, so it is quite credible. So according to this post, Meta, the parent company of Facebook, is assembling one of the elite teams in the world to build, to race towards ASI, artificial superintelligence. So that is a step beyond artificial general intelligence, right? If artificial intelligence is like human level capabilities, artificial superintelligence is like beyond humans, like godlike abilities. So Meta is aiming that high, right? And they are trying to assemble a team, elite team, which will make it possible. And look at the bottom line. They are willing to pay estimated compensation is 10 million to 100 million US dollars per year. So that's probably like, I don't know. So that's the kind of money that is being invested into artificial intelligence. And you would have read the recent news. Elon Musk compensation is in $1 trillion. The first CEO who would make $1 trillion. Of course, there are some conditions that you need to meet. But so that is the kind of race that we are in. So see, 44 researchers powering Meta's AGI push. 50% of them are Chinese nationals, 75% hold PhDs. So they poached 40%. 40% of those researchers, they have been poached from OpenAI, right? 20% from DeepMind and 15% from Scale AI. And 75% are first generation immigrants. So you have a chance there probably. And the user, I mean, it is quite credible, though she did not, she said that it's a rumor. It is quite credible because look at the details that are given here. So she gave the names, the ethnicity, the tenure at Meta, years of experience, current job, prior roles, expertise, advanced, pretty much the entire resume of all these people. So I think there is a lot of credibility. So that is the race we are in. Why did this go back? Oh, sorry. So that is the AI or die race that we are in. Now the next topic is the concepts which are enabling this race, right? What are some of the technical concepts? So the first important concept is called few-shot learning, right? So previously, using traditional machine learning, we would have had to accumulate a whole lot of data and then build a model and all that stuff. So collecting data was a big challenge. But with these latest AI models, we don't need much data. We just have to give few shots. Shots are examples. So like in this, on this slide, you see 2 shots. For each class, there are 4 classes. There's a class of squirrels, rabbits, hamsters, and otters. So there are 4 classes, so that's why it's called 4-way. Way indicates the class. And then shots indicate examples. So 2 examples of squirrels, 2 examples of rabbit, and so on and so forth. You pretty much get, so this is called a support set, K-way N-shot support set. So a number of examples of each class is called a support set. So that's it. We only need this much to actually build to do something useful with AI. Previously, with traditional machine learning, we would have had to collect several megabytes or even gigabytes of data. So that is not required anymore. Few-shot learning and even zero-shot learning, one-shot learning is also popular these days. So that is one big enabler for artificial intelligence today. Yeah, so we don't need any huge data sets anymore. So all you need to do is just download a model from Hugging Face. There's a website called Hugging Face. It's increasingly becoming, not increasingly, it has already become like the GitHub for models. So you go to GitHub for source code, you go to Hugging Face for models, right? So as you can see, when I took this screenshot, there are 1,577,657 models available on Hugging Face. You just have to download, and then you are all set to do some wonders. The magic of AI will unfold in front of you. So that is another enabler. And the next concept is called in-context learning. So what is in-context learning? So this is a paper from OpenAI. OpenAI is the company which gave us ChatGPT, you all know, right? So OpenAI team published this paper, Language Models Are Few-Shot Learners, in which they explained in-context learning. So in-context learning is basically learning from the context that you provide in the prompt, which is amazing, right? So typically, so these are all neural networks. Most of the these large models are neural networks. So neural networks have a lot of weights, and these weights are adjusted based on gradient descent, right? So the weights or gradients need to be changed to train them to do certain tasks. Like for recognizing squirrels or otters, you need to train the weights to recognize squirrels, right? So the surprising fact about these large models is that they don't have to be trained in the conventional way. They can learn from the prompt itself without any change to the weights. There's no gradient descent. Just you provide the prompt, the examples in the prompt, or the description in the prompt, and they're able to learn, the models are able to learn from the prompt itself. So that is called in-context learning. So some of the findings from the paper: the effectiveness of few-shot learning is partly due to the model's exposure to a broad distribution of tasks during pre-training, allowing rapid adaptation to new tasks. So the idea is that the models have seen so many patterns, so many different tasks during the pre-training process, that they are easily able to adapt to newer tasks without having to train the model. Like, you don't need fine-tuning, you don't have to change the weights at all. They are able to learn on the fly. So that is a surprising fact. And then the performance is competitive with fine-tuned models. So that is another great advantage. So even without changing the weights, like in fine-tuning, so fine-tuning basically changes the weights of the neural network, right? Even without doing that, fine-tuning is expensive. Like initially when ChatGPT was rolled out, fine-tuning used to happen every 6 months, right? So every 6 months they would collect the data, the latest data from World Wide Web, and fine-tune the model so that the knowledge in the model gets updated, right? So it's an expensive process. It used to run for several hours and things like that, several days probably. So all that is not needed. You just give enough information in the prompt, and the models are able to learn from the prompt, and the performance is competitive with fine-tuned models. But of course, it underperforms for others and is sensitive to prompt design and model scale. So that is why it is said that to be a good AI engineer, you need to think in natural language, but very precisely. So you don't have to program in C language or Python or whatever, but you should have similar kind of precision in expressing your ideas in natural language. So that is where prompt engineering comes into picture, right? So it is very sensitive to prompt design and model scale. And another limitation is that the performance is also sensitive to quality and order of the provided examples. So the order of the examples also matter. But more important is the models are able to learn from the prompts. So that is the in-context learning part. And the next technical concept that is enabling the AI revolution is the compositional generalizability. So what is compositional generalizability? This is a typical software concept. In SQL and other areas also you would have encountered these kind of concepts. So compositional means composing from independent tasks. 2 independent tasks, you can combine them together to create a new task, right? So foundation models generalize to novel combinations of learned concepts or features. So a good example is your self-driving car. So I don't know if self-driving cars are available in India yet, but in US it's quite common to see self-driving cars. So they have to deal with a lot of new things. So when you drive on the road, there are many new things happening, right? On which the car would not have been trained. The AI models in the car, self-driving cars, would not have been trained on those things. like somebody dancing, right? Somebody dancing on the road. I'm pretty sure the models in the car would not have been trained on that, right? Because who is going to dance and collect that data, right? But still the car needs to deal with such kind of scenarios. So that is possible because of this compositional generalizability. So they generalize the novel combinations of learned concepts of features. So the models in the car must have been trained on people walking, people running. So from those patterns, it is able to recognize the pattern of dancing, right? So that is the idea of compositional generalizability. So compositionality in language and vision requires the model to generalize from familiar concepts to unfamiliar compositions. So dancing in front of a car is unseen or unfamiliar composition, but it is still able to learn and adapt to such compositions. So the idea is to learn more generalizable representations. So if you have studied machine learning, you would know that generalization matters a lot, right? The models should not just do the specific task, but they should also generalize well to unseen data. So in this case, the unseen data is in terms of different patterns. So again, so all these concepts are quite related. The few-shot learning, the in-context learning, the compositional generalizability, these are all quite related, right? The idea is to generalize from few examples to unseen compositions. So yeah, we talked about autonomous vehicles. So autonomous vehicle is able to compose its understanding to handle unseen combinations of contexts. Otherwise, if this was not there, it would have been impossible for self-driving cars to run on the streets, because you cannot, by no imagination can you predict what all is going to happen on the streets. There could be many things happening. We cannot train the models on every possible thing that might happen on the streets. So it is because of compositional generalizability that self-driving cars are in vogue today. So the other enabler is the expanding context window. So just before ChatGPT, we were working on expanding this context window, right? At that time, the context window was like 2048 tokens, right? So what is this context window? Context window is how much the model is able to understand. So before ChatGPT, only 2048 words. Token is roughly can be thought of as a word. It's a little more involved, but you can think of token as a word, right? So the model could only keep in memory 2048 words. So we were trying to extend it in different ways, and suddenly ChatGPT happened and all our research got obsolete, right? Because the context window has been growing like anything. So Meta's Llama 4 Scout model, the context window size is 10 million tokens. That means pretty much a huge legal corpus of documents can be analyzed. It can understand all those words in the legal corpus. So 10 million tokens, Meta Llama 4. Claude Sonnet, 1 million tokens. Google Gemini, 1 million tokens as well. So from 2048 to millions of tokens of understanding. So that is why you are able to upload a huge document to ChatGPT, and it is still able to analyze the content very clearly. So yeah, so it has been growing rapidly. So from 2048 in the year 2021 to 200K and then to 1 million tokens now. So in a span of 3 years, that is a rapid progress. So the algorithms are really improving a lot. So the other enabler is this idea of agentic AI. In fact, many people say that 2025 is the year for agentic AI. There are a lot of agentic AI applications. So the idea is, again, to give autonomy, to integrate multiple tools and give autonomy to the AI systems. So that is the idea. It has multiple components. Of course, at the center is a large language model which is capable of reasoning. So all the logic happens in this reasoning model. Then you have the memory, which as the name indicates, keeps track of the information so far. And then there are cognitive skills module, which provide specialized functionality. LLMs are generalized, but if you want a specific functionality, then you provide them through cognitive skills. And then a number of tools to interact with the environment. These tools could be sending out an email or interacting with some other system. So all those tools interact with the environment. And together all these components are called an agent, LLM agent. So these agents could accomplish tasks, make decisions for you, and things like that, interact with outside systems, and so on. So those are the enablers. Now let us look at some of the interesting use cases, present and potential use cases. So the first is the amazing abilities of vision language models. So I just took one paper. There are many papers like this. So this paper gave a list of diseases that can be detected by vision language models, right? From AI retinal, from basically eye images, right? So you take an image of your eye, and then those images can predict a whole lot of problems in a person, right? So looking at the eye, this was not possible using a human eye specialist. Nobody was able to detect cardiovascular disease or heart disease from an image of the eye. That was possible only through artificial intelligence. Why? Because artificial intelligence is able to see what a human eye is not able to see, right? In fact, I use it quite a lot. If I am not able to read something, I upload it to ChatGPT and ask it what is in this image, and it clearly gives the information in the image, right? So that is the power of this AI model. They are able to look at details which the human eye cannot capture. So this paper listed all these diseases that were detected using vision language models, and of course specialized AI models for retinal image processing. But pretty much they're all vision language models, right? So cardiovascular disease, then cerebrovascular diseases like brain-related disease like stroke, moya disease, white matter lesions, and all those things. And Alzheimer's disease, you can detect whether a person is developing Alzheimer's disease from his eye image, which is amazing, right? And psychiatric and psychological diseases like schizophrenia, autism spectrum disorder, and so on and so forth. So all these are possible using VLMs. So that is an outstanding outstanding ability of this model. So that is one use case. Yeah, there are more diseases that can be, even metabolic diseases like hypertension, diabetes, diabetic peripheral neuropathy. So all this can be predicted from the eye images, and blood-related diseases like anemia. It's amazing. I mean, the breadth of the diseases that are able to show up in eye images. No one would have thought about these before AI models. So with the AI models, we are able to detect all these things. Solution, yeah, that's not directly, right, obviously, but they're being employed to develop medicines. There are many applications. So one application is to develop medicines. The other application is for surgery. So we'll talk about surgery in the next couple of slides. So not directly, but yeah, it is in progress. Yeah. So I don't know the time. So if I'm exceeding the time, please let me know. So the other, so this topic, I think this is the second keynote, and I think you would have heard this word a few times now, right? During the inauguration, during the first keynote, and me also. So digital twins are becoming very popular, right? Thanks to artificial intelligence. So one secret I want to share is that most of my innovations, teaching pedagogical innovations, I first test on the faculty and then roll them out to the students. So that assures the quality, right? So recently I offered a faculty development program for my colleagues at San Jose State University. So I teach machine learning, which happens to be a writing course as well. So that's how I got involved in writing. So in California State, it's mandatory that students show skills in writing. It's called graduate writing assessment requirements. So that's how I got involved in writing. So I offered this course for English writing professors, right? And so I asked them to create a digital twin which will write like them. Right? It's a simple idea, a digital twin which will write like them. So the idea is to dump a lot of documents that the person has written, and then ask the large language model to emulate the writing. So the style, if the person writing is very formal, then it will be very formal and things like that. So that was a simple use case of digital twin. So, but there are more exciting cases of digital twin thanks to, this is a digital twin that I created for demoing to my colleagues. And this, the whole idea is that I'm going to roll out this to the students next semester, right? But the more exciting area is in medicine, precision medicine, right? Using digital twins. So digital twins are virtual replicas of patients, like you would have seen in the previous keynote. It was a virtual replica of machinery, but you could create virtual replicas of people also. But the problem with people is, what is the problem? What is the difference between machines and people in terms of modeling? People are much more complex than machines, right? They are very stochastic. Many things in our human mind and human body is very stochastic, very random, right? Very complex. So, but still, there are a great number of efforts to build virtual replicas of patients, to model the patients. And these models integrate genetic, physiological, and real-world health data to simulate individuals' biological profiles and health trajectories, right? So that is the potential. In fact, it is already there. I'll give you an example. a surprising example. So the idea is to collect multimodal data from genomics, medical images, wearables, and then convert all that information into a real-time model of the patient. So digital twin is a dynamic model. So unlike simulations where you deal with static data, this digital twin is constantly evolving. So it learns constantly and evolves constantly in real time. So these models will be used to predict disease progression, simulate responses to therapies, and optimize personalized care. So, and so digital twins accelerate drug discovery and reduce trial costs by modeling patients, cohorts, and simulating drug responses virtually. So machine learning made a huge change, brought in a paradigm shift. So previously, using software, what was happening was you would study one instance and generalize to multiple instances. Like if you say, an example is, if somebody's score is, so you look at one person and then if the student gets more than 90% in math and say 80% in science, you can categorize, you can predict that this student is going to be a STEM student in the future, right? And you applied that to any student who came with those qualifiers, right? But machine learning did the opposite. Machine learning, you study a number of people and then you personalize the pattern to one particular person. You tailor the pattern to one particular person. So that is what happens in this digital twin technology also. So a lot of data collected from various patients is used to predict precisely. That's why it's called precision medicine. You tailor the patterns to a specific person, right, by building a digital twin. So for instance, immune digital twin models the immune system of a person, right? So it gets data at the level of the body, organ, tissue, cellular, and molecular level, and all the data is used to generate models to simulate to model the human immune system. And based on that model, you are able to do diagnosis, prognosis, and therapy optimization, right? Did I miss something? No. So there are many real clinical use cases. This is not theory. What I am talking is in practice today, right? So for cardiovascular surgery, researchers have built the patient's heart twin. So that means model of the heart. And they are planning preoperative tasks using this model. So you cannot experiment with the real heart, right? I mean, the person could die. So the idea is to build a digital heart which has all the data that is required to simulate the heart functioning. And then you can plan operation surgeries on the heart. So using this, 15% reduction in complications and improved recovery was observed. And in cancer, similar kind of benefits have been observed. Diabetes management. So a company called Digital, Twin Health, they are claiming that 70% or so, I don't exactly remember the numbers, but a lot of diabetic patients reduce their level. There's a measure, there's a metric called H1AC, hemoglobin, sugar content in the hemoglobin, right? How much the sugar attaches to the hemoglobin cells. So that was significantly reduced in a number of patients using digital twins. Similarly, drug development trials. So control arm. So control arm is a number of people who are observed. So when you develop a drug, it has to be tested, right? Eventually, it has to be tested on patients, real patients. It is tested on animals and so on and so forth, and eventually the real people will come into picture for testing the drugs. So there is a control arm. Control arm is a number of people that need to be tested before the medicine becomes production ready. So using digital twins, the control arms have been becoming smaller and smaller. So previously they had to test on say 1,000 people. Now it is 100 people. So that's a lot of gain, right? Because testing on real people is very scary. So when you're able to reduce that control arm, it's really good. So all these are real use cases today happening in the world. I don't know this service. What happened? So this is my own example. So I wear a Fitbit and another sensor, and it keeps track of my digital twin has been created somewhere, right? And in fact, if the internet connection is there, I could show you live. My heartbeat, current heartbeat, and everything is being tracked in real time. So they collected a lot of data from me. I had to go through a lot of lab. Of course, I volunteered. There is a lot of privacy concern. So I volunteered for this. And so it based on my sleep, it is able to predict the sleep score, right? And then the body battery, how much it charged, how much my body is charged through rest, and how much I am draining, right? So all this is being tracked in real time, and a digital twin exists somewhere on which predictions are being made, right? So this is a live example. I think the battery got drained. The battery in this got drained, looks like. So not my body battery, but. So the other use case is embodied and physical AI. So what is embodied AI? So this is what will make artificial general intelligence possible, right? This is one of the biggest enablers, embodied AI. So what is embodied AI? So AI mostly has been existing in our laptops, in the cloud computing, computers and things like that, clusters, cloud clusters, and things like that. So, but that is not enough, right? To become human level capabilities, to demonstrate human level capabilities, that is obviously not enough. So we need the AI to come out of the laptops, the cloud computers, into real world, right? A great example of embodied AI is your autonomous car, self-driving car, right? The artificial intelligence that sits in the self-driving car is an example of embodied AI. It is embodied into the car, the artificial intelligence that is embodied into the car, right? And physical AI is a more broader concept. So physical AI implies autonomy, and it takes a wholesome picture of the entire system, right? So embodied AI and physical AI together will bring artificial general intelligence into play. And so another great example of embodied AI is humanoids. I don't know if you have watched any videos about humanoids. So humanoids are like robots, human-like robots which are able to do things for you, right? So, like today morning somebody was talking about, during the inauguration I believe, somebody was talking about job displacement because of AI. So at this time humanoids are more expensive than human beings. So human beings, for the kind of tasks that humanoids are capable of, human beings are paid around $20 an hour, and the same for humanoids will be $30 an hour. That is a rough estimate. So they are still expensive than human beings, but the advantage is that they don't get tired, they don't unionize, right? See, there's a lot of pandemonium that is happening because of the flight cancellations, right? So those kind of things will not happen if it's all machine driven, right? See, I hope you are following the news, right? Why are they canceling the flights? Because they set a limit on the number of hours that these flight crew can operate, right? Why? Because fatigue. Human beings are prone to fatigue. That is not a possibility with humanoids. Machines don't fatigue. So that is the advantage, but at this time they are still more expensive than human beings, right? So it's not going to happen anytime soon that all these jobs will be replaced by humanoids, but there is a possibility. I mean, look at the computer, the storage. The prices have gone down so steeply. That could happen with humanoids as well. But at this time, it is more expensive to employ humanoids than human beings. So embodied and physical AI has crept into many verticals. So in logistics, autonomous mobile robots optimize routes, handle packages, navigate warehouses. So an example is Amazon's Digit. And of course, there are a lot of benefits like reduced human labor, real-time environment interaction, improved safety, and so on. In the healthcare, surgical robots. We'll talk about surgical robots in the next slide, I believe. Surgical robots assist in precise operations. Rehabilitation robots provide feedback-driven support, and so on and so forth. So the key benefit is procedural accuracy. We'll talk about procedural accuracy in a while. And then better hygiene. And we already talked about self-driving cars. Then extended reality. AI-driven avatars reproduce human motions for realistic VR, AR, rehabilitation, and gaming experience. So, so that's another great area of embodied AI. So a lot of these are already in place. Oh, this is not working. Okay, so let us talk about robotic surgery. So the idea is that the surgery will be done by a robotic arm very precisely. But there's a catch. The robotic arms will be controlled by a real physical surgeon. But the advantage is that the surgeon can sit thousands of miles away. Like when I was small, when I was young, right? I mean, of course, I'm still young, but when I was really young, doctors used to fly in from USA and other places to India to operate on patients. So patients who are really rich could afford doctors get doctors from there, or the patients themselves going to USA for specialized treatment. So that is no longer needed with this robotic surgery. The surgeon could be sitting some thousands of miles away and guiding the robotic arm to do the surgery. So the advantage, there are many, many advantages. Human surgeon, particularly the senior experienced surgeons, they have hand tremors. Their hands are not as precisely placed, moved as a robotic arm, right? So that is one advantage. The other advantage is precision, right? These machines are precise to a fraction of a centimeter. a fraction of a millimeter probably, right? So that level of precision is not possible with human hands. So there are a lot of advantages, and this is a growing area of research and promise. So that is robotic surgery. And so yeah, embodied and physical AI is entering into education, manufacturing, retail and hospitality, agriculture, and pretty much everywhere, like precision farming, crop monitoring, and so on and so forth. And then drones and autonomous delivery. So Walmart is already delivering. Walmart is a store in the United States. I don't know if it is there in India or not, but so it's a store in the United States, a popular chain of stores. So they are delivering goods using drones in 5 cities. They recently added a 5th city, right? So that is already happening. So drones and autonomous delivery. So in this particular example, drones are able to detect diseases in plants based on the images they collect from the plants, and they are able to spray pesticides and do a lot of other things, right? So that is the promise of, and autonomously. So a person does not have to control the drones. It's all done autonomously using artificial intelligence. So that is the other use case. So last year I wrote this op-ed. It's an article on how Bay Area is basically where I live in. The cities, the Silicon Valley, as you call it, is also called as Bay Area. So there are a number of cities in that. So I talked about how Bay Area cities can leverage the power of AI to build safer, more secure communities using drones and things like that. But there was a lot of discussion about this on the social media, this article. Many people were concerned, and most of the comments were negative. I mean, I'm being honest here. They were negative. People were saying that it's a huge invasion of privacy. You employ drones to pretty much snoop on people. It's a huge privacy concern. But still, I think there is a lot of promise there, using drones for safety. And probably a more relevant use case for this institute is the dark factory use case. So did anyone hear about dark factories? Okay, so dark factories are factories which are dark. That means there are no lights. Then how will they operate? Yeah, everything is done through machines. There's no human being who needs to enter into that factory. Everything is done through machines. So China is leading the efforts. So inside China's dark factories where robots run the show. So that is the level of automation that China is aiming for. So they have this movement called Made in China 2025. So as part of that, they are heavily going into dark factories, automating everything through robotics. And dark factories and the future of work, how AI-driven automation is reshaping manufacturing. So this is a reality as well. There are many companies which are already employing dark factories, totally driven by machines, no human intervention. So they are also called light out factories. Yeah, let's see if it works. Kaam nahi kar raha. So yeah, so the entire production process from raw materials to finished product delivery is controlled by machines, robots, AI, and IIoT, Industrial Internet of Things, sensors, right? So that is the idea of dark factory. And these factories can run 24/7. There's no fatigue, right, like human beings. Uninterrupted operation without breaks, shift changes, or fatigue. So that will achieve high precision, consistency, and productivity, right? And this is a key element of Industry 4.0 and digital transformation in manufacturing, right? So Industry 4.0, today somebody talked about Industry 4.0 and 5.0. In fact, I also mentioned it. So this is a key element in dark factories are a key element in Industry 4.0. And so there are some problems, of course. These are highly interconnected, powerful systems, and they are vulnerable to cyber attacks, data breaches, and sabotage, posing safety threats. So that is one problem. And of course, the problem of economic polarization and social unrest due to changes in employment patterns. See, one bad thing about artificial intelligence is that it is increasing the income gap, wealth gap. The richer are becoming richer, the rich are becoming richer, and the poor are becoming poorer. It's an unfortunate fact. And AI will probably expand that gap. And of course, dark factories are not entirely possible. I mean, like, you cannot run all the factories as dark factories, because human beings are still needed for creativity, for innovation, for certain skills like motor skills, real-time judgment. So the other use case is natural language for programming, right? Pretty much software development is now just writing natural language like English. You're programming in English. So my students, for one of the assignments, my students use pandas.ai and then program in English, pretty much. No Python, just in English, to accomplish some really good stuff. So a lot of code generation, prompt proficiency, and all that stuff. I think I'm running out of time, so I'll probably skip through a few points. Yeah, there are a lot of advantages of. So I also talked about affordability and quality of life when you use. Oh, yes, sir. Okay, I'll wind up. Okay, sure. So the future trends. So Andrew Ng, you know, is a protagonist in artificial intelligence. So he says that the future should be in addressing the long tail. Right now, AI has a long tail. Most of the applications are high value, like web search, ads, and all that. But he says that AI is not completely utilized unless it enters this small like pizzeria demand forecasting, t-shirt demand forecasting, those kind of long tail. And so this was, I think, last year or something, or maybe this year, Andrew Ng's quotation. But for the last 5 or 6 years, I have been asking my students to look at the occupational classifications of United States Bureau of Labor Statistics and see what all tasks can be automated using AI. So the idea is to create entrepreneurs among my students. So the idea is something similar to Andrew Ng, but I've been doing it for the past 5 years. Okay, this is about Gen AI project phase. Okay, let me see if there's anything interesting further. So I just want to cover one last topic, which is Moravec's paradox. So Moravec's paradox is an interesting idea that these AI models, AI systems, can do amazing tasks which are difficult for the human beings, but they struggle with some of the simple basic tasks that humans can accomplish very easily, right? So that is a paradox. They can do really outstanding tasks, but so this paradox plays a very big role. For instance, it implies that like Industry 5.0, the human-machine collaboration is based on this aspect. So it is supported by this paradox. So it helps in multiple ways. So if you are interested in, you can look up online about that. Yeah, that's pretty much it. I have a few more slides, but since we are running out of time, so if there are any 1 or 2 questions, probably I can answer them. And of course, please feel free to connect with me. Any questions?
Thank you, sir, for giving insight on artificial intelligence. So, being a mechanical engineer and specialized in material engineer, recently I have done a course on artificial intelligence in material development and material engineering. One thing is what I come across that there is a problem still in microstructure studies in the materials engineering that requires CN we have artificial neural network, so convolutive neural network. So that is a difficulty that for regenerative AI, especially when I'm going to talk about that, if we are feeding something to the computer for regenerative AI, that is considered as a truth one. So how do you give a please insight on that? Because how much we reliable on that data of regenerative AI, and how this problem can be addressed?
So maybe
For example, perplexity.
Perplexity.ai.
It is a regenerative AI, but ChatGPT is not regenerative AI. But whatever data we are feeding, so that they consider as a truth one, and next time somebody is asking the question on that, they will give that false data also without verification of that data. So how we address that kind of issues?
Oh, you mean hallucinations?
Yes, hallucination. Yes, right.
Yeah. So hallucinations is a big problem. So that is one reason why we need human in the loop. In fact, a lot of slides are on human in the loop in my presentation, which I could not present in because of the time. So human in the loop that is kind of required at this time to address hallucinations. There are solutions, like you said, perplexity.
Yeah.
So perplexity, the whole purpose of forming perplexity was to address this hallucinations problem, right? The goal was to provide citations for every generated information.
Yes.
So that is one approach, but still, perplexity still tells lies.
Yes,
I don't know if you have seen that.
Right.
So it is a problem, and at this time we don't have a solution or a vision how this problem will be completely addressed.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir. Thanks.
Thank you,
We
sir.
are moving very advanced way, like ML and image processing, etc. is coming. What next is about to come? One question. And second, in China's dark factory, if at all any breakdown occurs, how do they handle it? Because robots are after all machines. Breakdown will be there. So how they are going to handle it in dark atmosphere, like without light?
Okay, the second question is, I'll go stack approach, last in, first out. So second question. So that is the idea, right? The quality of the tooling will be so precise and so efficient that there will probably be no breakdowns at all. Only then dark factories are possible. If they keep breaking down every now and then there's no point, right? So that is the goal. The goal is for the factories to run uninterrupted, unassisted, and thoroughly. So that is the vision. And we already have dark factories in place right now, so it's not like a fiction thing. It's already a fact. And your first question was about what's next, right? So what's next is the artificial general intelligence, human-like abilities using artificial intelligence. So that is the next race. And for that, humanoid is the key. But there are significant problems with humanoids. So right now, humanoids work based on what is called as imitation learning. So imitation learning is that the learning that happens through imitation. So if right now humanoids, to operate the humanoids, somebody would be wearing a vision glasses and they would be operating the humanoid. So whatever the person does, the humanoid does. So it's like imitation learning.
Surgery, as the example.
Yeah,
of surgery.
the example is a surgery. So, but they have to grow far, far more beyond that, right? They have to learn by themselves, which is a very difficult task. In my opinion, it's a very difficult task. Right now, it is still at the imitation learning stage. I think that is the next.
India also
Stage.
it is being practiced.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Why not? I mean, when it is possible for China, why not anyone else? Only thing is,
approximate year you are in this field, so you can imagine at least.
so it is possible, but
Because India is a huge populated country and we don't have that much precision in the whatever the machines or in robots.
yeah, I mean, capabilities exist, but there are so many other things also, right? Like the unions may oppose it, right? There are so many unions.
That's
They will oppose it, and there are a lot of socio-political issues also. It's not just technical issues. But yeah, at least to some extent, I think it will be possible.
Thank you.
Okay, yeah.
So it was a very insightful session. So, sir, my question is related to context window. You talked about models going from 256K context window to 1 million to 2 million to 10 million. So there are some research coming up about context rot. That is model getting confused when we increase a context very large this much. So how this is being taken care of in models with very large context window?
Yeah, that's right. The efficiency falls down, the performance falls down as the context increases. So that's right. Again, the solution is in algorithms, right? Positional encodings, the algorithms used to generate the positional encodings, and the memory aspect. So there are a number of algorithms that are being tried out, like there's a sparse context approach. There are a few other, it's a growing research area. But yeah, that's a valid point. Thanks. Any other questions? All right then, thank you all.
Thank you, sir, for your impactful keynote session on the topic, the enablers, use cables, and future trends of AI imperative. We deeply appreciate your time and insights.
Now I would like to call upon Madhu Kumari ma'am to present a memento to Professor Vishnu Pendyala sir as a gesture of our gratitude.
Now, we are moving to the last keynote session of the day.
I take this opportunity to introduce Professor Saad McAuliffe, who is an IEEE and IIT Fellow and a distinguished professor at Swinburne University of Technology, Australia. He is also an honorary professor at the University of Malaya. He has authored and co-authored over 800 publications in academic journals and preceding 5 books, and has accumulated more than 67,000 citations, supervising over 80 PhD students who have graduated under his guidance. He is an editorial board member for many prominent journals, including IEEE Transactions on Power Electronics, IEEE Open Journal for Industrial Electronics, IIT Renewable Power Generation, and Journal of Power Electronics. Recognized by Thomson Reuters as one of the world's highly cited engineering researchers, his expertise lies in power conversion techniques, maximum power point tracking, renewable energy, and energy efficiency. We kindly request Professor Saad Meklik to begin his session. So please, you can start.
Couldn't make it due to urgent meetings here in Australia. So what I'm going to share with you this evening here, it's evening here in Melbourne. What's the role of technology in achieving a modern carbon neutral society? I think now many people are talking about the carbon neutrality, and many countries has taken many steps towards trying to reduce their carbon emissions. So the key question is why climate sustainability is a challenge. Okay, so this is the question that everyone is asking: why climate sustainability is a challenge? It's a challenge because we see unprecedented natural disasters. Okay, we have seen natural disasters actually happens in every corner of the world. Okay, so we only last week we have seen natural disasters in Southeast Asia, Thailand, Malaysia, Indonesia, a lot of floods, more than 1,000 people died, and millions of people have been displaced. So we see this kind of natural disasters that happening everywhere. And It's happening not only in one place, but it's everywhere, from Africa to China to United States, everywhere. And I think one of the largest floods that ever experienced is the Pakistan flood in 2022, where more than 7 million people have been displaced. Never been before, and thousands of people have died. And also we see this in different parts, even in the United States, okay, where we see, in the middle of summer, where there's a lot of floods in every corner of the United States. In Australia and the New Zealand, also the same, So in 2023, Australia and New Zealand experienced one of the heaviest flood ever. So we never experienced this for the last 100 years. So what you can see here, you can see that floods is happening everywhere, and it is unprecedented. So this is what's happening. And if we don't see flood, we have seen droughts. Okay, and I don't know this. You know this place. This is in Italy. This river in Italy, and it's never dry. It never dry for the last 70 years. Okay, and this is in China. In China, this is a Yangtze River. Yangtze River is one of the rivers that supplies the water to the Three Gorges Dam, the largest hydropower plant in the world, 18 gigawatts. And you can see it dried off. So we see this kind of natural disasters. Actually, that is happening in almost every corner, every corner of the world. And we see this kind of natural disasters, and it's never before. It's never happened before. Okay, so, and we see also wildlife fires. You see in June 2022, you can see the wildlife fires in the United States. From California to Arizona. To Arizona in 2022. So this never experienced before. In the beginning of this year, we have seen in Los Angeles, the wildfire happening in the United States. In 2022 also, we have seen wildfire in the whole Europe, from France, Portugal, Germany, Greece, Spain, Italy, from the south to the north, from the east to the west of Europe, within the span of 3 months, from June, July, August. June, July, August, the whole Europe was burning. So we can see we have seen a lot of floods, we've seen droughts, and then also in the same we've seen a lot of fires, natural disasters. Even in Siberia, experience a very extreme fire, wildfires in one of the coldest places actually on Earth. And even in many parts of Africa, in North Africa, Morocco experienced more than 50 degrees Celsius. Never happened in the last 100 years. So the question is, what's causing this? So we have seen there is a huge natural disasters, actually, from fires to droughts to floods and so on and so forth. What's causing this one? What's causing this problem is the high CO2 emissions. So the high CO2 emissions is the main reason for all this kind of disasters. And what this CO2 emissions causes is also cause the Earth temperature to increase. And if you look into the Earth temperature in the last 200 years, what you can see, the Earth temperature has been increasing exponentially. You see, in the last 300 years, increasing exponentially. And according to Paris Climate Accord, which all the world leaders met and they decided to try to limit the Earth temperature to 1.5 degrees C by 2050. But what happened is, you see, we are in 2025 and we already, the Earth temperature is 1.2 degrees C. So we only have 0.3 for the next 25 years, which almost 100% it will exceed 1.5 degrees C. So we see the Earth temperature is increasing in the last 200 years exponentially. So also, if you look into the carbon emissions, you know, so you look into the carbon emissions, you know, the carbon level, you know, it's always maintained for thousands of years. But what happened here? You know, what happened here? It happens that actually there is a sudden jump, or there is a spike actually, which actually in the last. Let's zoom this part and see what's happening here. If we zoom this last 300 years, what you can see, there is an exponential increase also in the carbon emissions. Okay, so there is an exponential increase, especially starting from the 90s, you know, where the industrial revolutions actually started, you know. So this is actually what's happening. So we can see the same pattern, that actually there is an increase in the Earth temperature, there is an increase in the carbon emissions and the carbon in the atmosphere. So that's actually the reasons why all these natural disasters are occurring, why this is happening. So these natural disasters actually happen because of reasons. So what we have to do, the question is, and what you can see actually after discovering this, many countries have taken steps, try to reduce. You can see the developed countries, you see over the span of 2 years, okay, they have tried to reduce, you know, this is some data for 20 to 2021, for almost 20 years, sorry, for 20 years. So you can see that the carbon emission for developed countries has started reducing. However, you can see the emerging economies, especially especially China and India, they are still in the rise. And the worrying part, they have not reached the peak yet, you know, they have not reached the peak back. So there is an increase in these two emerging economies, one of the faster growing economies. So, and this is, I got this from a friend where he says actually the China peak carbon emissions will reach somewhere 2030. Means they have still not reached to the peak yet. So after that, they will maybe start declining the carbon emissions. But you can see most of the Western countries already pass the peak of the carbon emissions. Always the question is, who is responsible for these carbon emissions? And if you look into the data, okay, from ARENA, you can see the data from ARENA that actually the one responsible is all the rich countries. You can see the United States have contributed 25% of the carbon emissions. Germany, 6%. France, Italy, United Kingdom, Australia, Canada, Japan. You can see actually 23 countries have contributed 50% of the carbons. 23 countries only. Whereas the rest, 150 countries contribute the other half. So actually now it's very clear actually who have caused this problem. Means it's all the industrial revolutions that happens in the 1900. So that's the main reason. And who is responsible for it? But I think it's not a question to ask who caused the problem, because we have only this earth and we have to live in it, and we need to find the problem. So what are the problems, and how we have identified the problems, and then we identify the reasons why this is happening. So now we need to find the solutions. So there are 3 ways on how to address this issue. One is the mitigation. okay, mitigate and slow down the impact of all these natural disasters. Adapt, okay, and try to live with it means we have to change the way of how we live and try to accept it and try to live with it, and the climate resiliency, which is try to recover. But as what you call researchers, you know, one of the ways, actually, it's all about energy transitions. We need to transit from the current energy supply or utilizations to new energy forms. We need there should be an energy transitions, and these energy transitions, you know, is required. You know, if currently we are dependent almost 37% on oil, 11% on coal. This is worldwide, 16% natural gas. So if we want to keep the Earth temperature at 1.5 degrees C, we need to reduce the oil to only 4%. Okay, the oil to only 4%, gas to 4%, and coal to 2%, and increase the electricity that's generated from renewables to 50%. So this is if you want really to make this transition and keep the Earth temperature at 1.5 degrees C. Okay, so and this means we have to move to more renewables. Okay, so the basic principles of energy transition is, I think I summarize it here, which is cool out, oil reduction, and weaken the gas as much as possible. All right. So let me now move into the main idea of the topic of the lecture, which is how the technology can help us actually achieve carbon neutrality. You know, so I'm because my research is mainly on power electronics, so I will be focusing on how power electronics actually helps or can help in achieving a modern carbon neutral society. So let me share with you this. I think this is a very important figure. You can see this line here. This line actually is separate the load. This is the sources. Sorry, these are the sources, and these are the loads. So what you can see from the sources, this is the AC line here, this is the AC line here, this is the AC line, okay? So this is the AC line. So what we have different sources. We have, like, for example, we have wind, okay? We have storage, okay? We have solar, PV. We have combined cycle power plants. We have electric vehicles, which connected to the grid. We have fuel cells. We have different types of generations, and then these generations will be converted to AC and then go to the AC line and then supply to the load. So what you can see from here, what you can see, there is one common color actually here in this figure. What we can see, the common color is this converters. You know, see, wind 800% now can be what we call converted through power electronics, you know, AC to DC and DC to AC. So it's power electronic driven. Storage also, we need a DC to AC, and then we see the what I call fuel cell. We need electric vehicles, also need the power electronics. Storage also need power electronics. Solar need power electronics. You can see from what you can see here, all our supply or grid system is becoming a power electronic dominant. All right. So we're talking about, you know, thousands of gigawatts of generation across the world. So these converters, you know, they are everywhere. So if, for example, from power electronics perspective, if we can improve the efficiency of these converters, you know, improve the efficiency, you know, by just not much, you know, by 1%, you know, assume that we have 100 gigawatts and we improve the efficiency by 1%. So actually we save 1 gigawatt. If we have 1,000 gigawatts, so we save 100, what I call, 10 gigawatts of power. So you can see the amount of saving that can be done by improving the efficiency of these converters. And I will give you some examples later. Okay, so this is on the source side. If you look into the load side, also all our load are becoming a power electronics driven. Okay, if you look into your TV, okay, for example, your TV become LED TV. LED TV, which is power electronics, because it needs a LED driver. Your lights, LED lights, your motors, your loads at the motors, they need the VSD and VFD, variable speed drive, which is power electronics. And then, for example, you look into your laptop chargers, whatever. So we can see actually all the loads are also power electronics driven. So what you can see here, on the source side, we see actually power electronics becoming a dominant component. And then on the load side, almost everything. So, even if you go and purchase, a fridge, for example, now, they will tell you this fridge is inverter based. Do you need an inverter based fridge or a normal one? When you go and buy a washing machine, they will tell you this is an inverter based washing machine. When you go and buy an air conditioning, they will tell you this is an inverter-based air conditioning. And all of them are more efficient. So what you can see, so actually, all the loads, LED light at home, your TV, your cooking, even now we have induction cooking. We do, induction cooking, which is a very, very common now here in Australia, especially here in Victoria. Starting from 2025, this year, there will be no gas connections to the homes. Means we have to use induction cooking for new homes. So they are phasing out the gas. So what does it mean? Induction cooking means it's power electronics. So this is what you can see here. So there is a big group, especially for people working in this area, to improve. So if we improve efficiency in these converters, actually, we can save a lot of energy. All right. So maybe I give you an example. One of the very common example. I like to take this example because it's easy and everyone share this example. I think this what you call laptop charger. Yeah, this laptop charger usually give us between 8.7 to 19 volts DC. And then it goes inside the laptop. Then we have all these VRs, voltage regulators, these voltage regulators to regulate the voltage depends on the voltage level that each device inside needs. Okay. So we have a lot of conversions inside. So let me, this charger, so let me give you, how power electronics actually helps to improve this. This charger actually, the topology it's used is this flyback topology. I don't know, I think people in power electronics knows this. It's a flyback topology, which is 400 volt, up to 400 volt, and then gives you 12 to 290, depends on the device. So this actually, we have this switch here, Q1 here. So this switch actually, we use what you call hard switching. Okay, hard switching means switch at any voltage, any current. We call it hard. Means at high voltage, high current, we do the switching. So when you switch at high voltage, high current, the losses will be very high, because the losses is what? The losses during the switching is the voltage times current. So when you switch at high voltage, high current, automatically the losses will be very high. So what's actually been introduced, which is, we call it the ZVS and ZTS, zero voltage switching and zero current switching, or we call it soft switching. Okay, so we use this what we call small inductors, the same topology. We just add few inductors and capacitors here to create the resonance, and we use what we call this soft switching. So the same things, just additional few components, passive components here, and we increase the frequency from 50 kilohertz to 5 megahertz. And let me show you the impacts. Very small modification in this. So what happened? So the efficiency it's jumped from maximum. I'm talking about not minimum, which is minimum is around 80, maximum which is 85 to 95. So almost 20% efficiency improvement if we call it. So what does this represent? This 20% improvement, okay, represent actually what is generated by almost 60 nuclear power plants. Okay, yeah. What does mean 60 nuclear power plants? So we just apply this, moving from hard switching to soft switching. We able to save 20% improvements, and that is we save what is generated almost by 60 nuclear power plants. Okay, I know what is the maybe the power for these laptops is around 70 to 100 watts, depends on the times. Maybe let's take it 100 watts. So we save 20%, for example. So we save 20 watts. So 20 watts multiply by the number of hours that your laptop runs a day. For example, let's assume 10 hours. So 10 hours times 10 will be 100. Sorry, we say 20 times 10 hours, we're talking about 200 watts. So per day you save 200 watts. So multiply by the number of laptops that exist in India, and then the one exists in China, in the United States, and then the whole world. We're talking about billions of laptops, billions of chargers. So that's why I say we did the calculations, and we found actually it is equivalent to 60 nuclear power plants. This improvement, this soft switching happening. So one nuclear power plant, usually one nuclear power plant is the size of 1 gigawatts. One nuclear power plant will be able to generate around 7 trillion watt-hour of electricity per year. 7 trillion watt-hour times 60. Okay, so we're talking about 420 trillion watt-hour of electricity saving. So this is the amount of saving, and then you link that how much carbon we have saved. So the amount of carbon that been neutralized because of this efficiency improvement is significant. Okay, so this is just an example actually for how technology actually, or how research can make an impact. Because sometimes we do research and we don't see the big picture. The big picture is, you need to be able to see, to project, or to see the impact of your findings on the global scale. Because when I say, oh, saving 20 watts, 20 watt is nothing. But 20 watt times the number of hours you run your laptop times the number of laptops exist in the world. And this is not only in the laptops, in the data centers, is applied in data centers, is applied on desktops, is applied on phone chargers, is applied on tablets, is applied almost every components that's use this kind of topology. So this is actually how technology can help improve. Let me give you another example. Yeah, this is the thing. So another example, which is, we call it the AC data centers. Nowadays the data centers are very common and very widely used, because we have moved to everything's through online, and everything is done through online, and these data centers need to be running all the time. And these data centers, they need two things. One is the power, which is electricity, and the second one is water for cooling. So these two are the most important and the most critical for data centers. 5, 6, 7. So you can see this conversion here. And whenever we do a conversion, it's never 100% efficiency. So we're talking about maybe the best case scenario, 95, 96% efficiency. So we every conversion we lose like 5%. So one of new ways actually, which is actually moving from this type of data centers, which is we call them AC data centers, to DC data centers. So when we move to DC data centers, what happened? We have removed two stages of conversion, right? So we save more than 5% actually. Okay, so if you calculate actually just these two devices, we remove them, we have saved 5%, and that 5% equivalent to 15 nuclear power plants, because you have to multiply by 5% of how many gigawatts of power that these devices are using per year, per hour, per minute, and especially with this AI, with that's actually a huge amount of power that we've been saving. And this is one of the companies which is very well known, which is Google. They already moved to what you call this DC data centers. So this is actually a very how the technology, how this small modification moving from AC to DC data centers, the amount of saving that you can, and this is you're talking about billions of dollars saving, in terms of money, and then you can put it in terms of carbon emissions reduction. So that looks into the light actually. The light, if we move from these types of lights to this, we are almost like 4 to 5% efficiency. If we move here, we have another 4% efficiency. All right. So if we switch all the light bulbs that exist actually on the whole world, which is talking about billions and billions of light bulbs, actually we can save between 400, almost 450 nuclear power plants of power equivalent, and then we can project it onto how much carbon we save. Okay, I think electric motors also, it's a very important component, especially it consumes a huge amount of power, and as we know, the motors usually they use these VSDs, variable speed drives, and that actually can improve the efficiency of these motors. So if we assume that 40% of the motors already have VSDs, we have another, and if we put VSDs, actually we can save up to almost 30% of energy. So there is a huge amount of saving actually if using this kind of, and this VSD is what? VSD is like rectifier, and then an inverter, which is power electronics. It's a pure power electronics. So it's a huge amount of savings. And as I mentioned before, in terms of renewables also, we can see the increase of power electronics from 0% in the 80s. Now we're talking about 100% power electronics converters. Now we have like the 15 megawatts wind turbine, single wind turbine, 15 megawatts is driven by power electronics. So you're talking about 15 megawatts, just assume the converter that you use there, you improve the efficiency by 1% only. So how much power you can, talking about hundreds of kilowatts of savings, per wind turbines. And the same thing goes for the photovoltaics also. You can see the photovoltaics will never work without power electronics. You can see these boxes here, okay? All right, so these boxes actually plays an important role, So you can see these boxes here. These are all power electronics, You can see these all power electronics, you see? So efficiency improvement of those devices actually plays an important role. As we know, most of this now, we are reaching at 95%, 96%, up to 98%. We still have this 2% to play with. Well, people are trying to improve by 0.1, 0.2, 0.3. We want to reach to 100% that these power electronic devices actually can help to improve the things. Another area which is where power electronics actually, which is heavily used, is on the hydrogen productions, which is the power to the electrolyzers, So the power to electrolyzers, especially nowadays, actually, we should use the renewables to supply the power and generate green hydrogen. So this is an area which is very very, very important and also promising, and many researchers are working on this to look into this. All right. Maybe I think maybe I will stop here if you have any questions, because the slides are quite lot. But maybe I think we can see that actually the role of power electronics, how power electronics can play an important role. Maybe there is any questions or any what you call comments, and I will be happy to answer them. Please. It's 45 minutes already. Yeah. Thank you. Hello. Hello, can you hear me?
Hello, sir, can you hear us?
Yes. Yes, can hear you.
Yeah, just
Any questions or any comments or?
no, sir. It's perfect, sir.
Yeah, because it's 40 minutes. You give me 40 minutes. Already my 40 minutes is over, you know. Or
Yes, sir.
Okay, sir. Finally, we have no questions. So, uh, sir, we extend our heartfelt gratitude for your impactful and enriching presentation on the role of technology in making the world carbon neutral into a reality. Pertaining into the details of advanced power electronic circuits, sir has presented how the future energy utilization trends can be changed. We are really grateful for your enlightening session, sir. And finally, thank you all for the wholehearted support. See you tomorrow. Have a great day ahead. Thank you.
thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you a lot.
Thank you. Bye.